Hi, so I got the urge to make a video about Venus-Pluto issues or themes, and I kind of miss the ability to sometimes make videos outside, but after I moved, I don't have any of my own kind of outside space that I could go make videos in, like I used to, so I suppose I could go to some park or somewhere, walk somewhere and try to find a place to make a video, but I don't really feel comfortable in a lot of places here to kind of talk about this stuff into a camera, if that makes sense. So if there was like a private outside space, that would be great, but there isn't really. So I wanted to talk about Venus-Pluto. So probably a quick enough video about Venus-Pluto. I just wanted to get some of my thoughts out about this. So I think when Venus and Pluto are like aspecting in a birth chart, or when there's some kind of Venus-Pluto themes going on in a chart, it can bring about certain topics and themes, sort of recurring themes in relationships, even friendships. So I have the opposition between Venus and Pluto, and I used to not really understand what that meant in the context of my life. But as I've kind of observed more things and gotten to know myself a little bit better and had like experiences with different people, I can kind of see how it has played out. So Venus-Pluto is interesting in that there's this kind of intensity that the person has in their friendships, their relationships, that might draw certain people to them, or might draw people in general to them. There's the issues of, like, I have some personal experience with this, is that issues of one person sort of trying to not necessarily overpower the other person, but it seems like there's a power imbalance between the friendships, between the friends in the friendship or in the relationship. It's like, I was thinking about this, that it might be the case that with Venus-Pluto, your own character has a certain intensity to it, even if in other areas it does not, but in like a friendship or in a relating sense, there's a certain intensity that is really an expression that draws certain people to you or certain situations to you. So maybe it is the case that Venus-Pluto people are sort of magnetic or intense in some way, so they get into situations where they might be the person who is displaying some kind of intensity or power in their interactions with the other person, or the other person might be that person for them. And then that can create questions of, well, what is this really about? Why am I drawing these people to me, right? And I think with Venus-Pluto, it sounds like a cliche, it sounds like something that we've heard so many times, is this kind of thing of control in relationships, control and power in relationships because of Pluto. But I think it can be the case that that's kind of the underlying, one of the underlying sort of themes. So really it's trying to show you something, right? It's Pluto and Venus interacting. It's kind of like through your relationships, through your friendships, through your things that have an effect on your self-esteem as well, which is also Venus, or your what you value in yourself, right? It's that can come about through friendships and relationships. Your self-worth and self-value can change according to your relationships, right? So those things kind of come about through relationships. People are showing you what you're doing, and people are showing you what they are doing, and then that makes you think about all kinds of things about, well, why am I drawing these people to me, and why do I get involved in situations where one person is kind of like in some sense above the other. I don't know how to explain, but it can come about with Venus-Pluto in that there's a certain magnetic power that you have inside you, and so you might interact with people in a way that brings that across, or it might attract people who are doing that as well, but in a different way. So you have the power, and you have the ability to have an impact, not to say control, but you have the ability to have an impact inside you, and so you attract people who like interact with that part of you. Or you might be the person who interacts with the other person while using that part of you. So you might be the person who is trying to bring about some kind of change in the other person, or you're trying to control the other person, or show some kind of power when it comes to the other person, or the other person might be that person for you. So the other person might manipulate you. The other person might, like even on a subconscious level, try to change you. So you might not be aware of it in like a conscious way, but one of you might try to change the other, or kind of manipulate in a way that is something that is showing you something about yourself. Like, why am I drawing these relationships and these friendships to me? And you know, Venus-Pluto obviously can also show up in synastry charts or composite charts, and that will have like a similar theme. So if you have Venus-Pluto aspects like an opposition or something like that, or square or something like that, I think especially in synastry and composite, the opposition would be very significant, because oppositions have very much to do with relationships and relating. So if you have like Venus-Pluto in a synastry chart or a composite chart, that can also show that there is a theme of sort of control and dominance, and like trying to find something out through your relating with this other person. Pluto wants to like find things out and transform. And so I think with Venus-Pluto, it can literally just show up as somebody like in a relationship, like in a synastry chart, a composite chart, or if you have it in a birth chart, like it can show up as relationships that where one person is trying to take back their own power, or build up their own power by kind of taking some of the power away from you. Or they might use certain tactics that may seem positive, like love or care for you, or helpfulness, to really kind of on some level to manipulate you and to take away your power so that they can have more power, right? Or you might be that person for somebody else as well. And you know, you may not relate to this if you have Venus-Pluto, because it can show up in different ways. But one of the ways Venus-Pluto can show up is this kind of intensity in relationships, and this intensity in your presence. And so it's hard to have relationships or friendships that are just, you know, very relaxed, and there isn't a lot of things, there isn't a lot of like things being shown to you. You always seem to learn through relationships. And I think it's especially prominent with Venus-Pluto aspects. If you have that somewhere present in your birth chart or in a synastry with somebody, like you're learning something through relating to this person, and it can feel really destructive. It can feel like, well, why do I keep getting involved with these kinds of people or this person? Like, let's say if you even take a break from relating to this person, and then you kind of, they come back into your life. I've experienced this with a few people, that like the friendship ends, and then it kind of, the person comes back into my life several times. And then there's always this issue of like, well, we're obviously attached to each other in some way, that like on some kind of level, maybe subconsciously or on a soul level, we're attached to each other. We're still trying to teach each other things, and so that's why we keep coming back together in this friendship, right? Even though we have like ended the friendship before, but we keep coming back to each other. And so you know, that can be because of my Venus opposite Pluto in my birth chart. It can be something to do with synastry as well, or composite charts. But because I have this in my birth chart, it shows that it is a common energy that I carry, and the common theme in me that I used to not be aware of. I didn't understand this aspect. But you know, the more I learn, the more I see that it does come out in my friendships, in my relationships with people. And also, Venus-Pluto, I was just reading about this as well. Venus-Pluto can also, to some degree, indicate that the person is afraid of commitment, or afraid of getting into relationships or friendships, because of their own Plutonic nature. So they can be aware that things are going to get powerful. Things are going to get, you know, where one person might try to step over somebody else's boundaries or something like that, or there's control issues or power issues, and so we're trying to avoid that by not getting involved in relationships, because Venus-Pluto can also be all or nothing. So I either want a really deep, positively intense relationship, or no relationship at all, right? I would rather have a conversation that is meaningful than to kind of mingle in a more dull way, or what seems dull to me in that moment, right? But also without all the drama. But with Venus-Pluto, you can have a lot of drama. So I think with Venus-Pluto people, they can avoid relationships and friendships or getting involved with people because of this drama that they know that their own personality or the other person's personality can bring about, right? It's almost like it's inevitable. And I know that happens with other people that don't have any Venus-Pluto contacts in their birth chart, for example. They can have drama as well, but there's still something else going on in their chart. But with Venus-Pluto specifically shows that like there is potential for drama in friendships, relationships, because of there's something, issues of maybe even control in me, for example, that I have not owned. So I don't own this part of myself, and so other people are coming into my life to kind of show me, and to kind of on a soul level try to get me to regain my power by putting me in certain situations where I have to look in my inner resources and be powerful, because otherwise the other person will walk all over me, right? Does that make any sense? I think that's something to understand about Venus-Pluto, is that maybe it is something in the Venus-Pluto person that they, in some cases, have lost their personal power, their sense of their own personal power, and so other people are showing them that, listen, you can be powerful, but I'm going to show you, I'm going to put you in situations where you have to show your power and own your power and not let others walk all over you, right? Or you can be that person for somebody else. So I feel like this video was a little bit convoluted in the sense that it's kind of difficult to explain some of these concepts in a way that is cohesive, I suppose. I was thinking a lot about this aspect though, and I've been wanting to make this video for a while. So if I have any more thoughts about this, I can of course make another video about it with some more thoughts. So if you have any thoughts about this, leave a comment and leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed this, and subscribe if you want more from me. So thank you for watching. Take care.